Number 10. Two engineers. This image looks like two people fixing Frankenstein, but they are two engineers fixing a Disney animatronic. Number 9. Anti-freckle treatment. This picture from the 1930s does not depict some kind of cruel torture. What it shows is how they used to attempt to get rid of freckles in order to look more beautiful. Number 8. Medical students posing with cadavers. Medical science isn't what it used to be, and that's a good thing. A lot has changed about how we approach injury and disease in the last 150 years. Perhaps most importantly, though, is how doctor training has changed. Prospective doctors used to be limited to whatever diseases were happening in the area. For practical examinations, they had to make do with whatever cadavers they could get their hands on. Oddly enough, it was also during this time that photography was coming into fashion. Groups of medical students somehow got it into their heads that it would be fun to pose for photographs with their cadavers. The results are actually quite freaky. Number 7. Treatment for mental illness. In this 1890 picture, a woman is shown standing in a narrow cell, her arms affixed to the wall in a crucifixion pose. Though seemingly inhumane, at the time it was seen as a reasonable treatment for those with mental illness in Germany. Number 6. Horatio Gordon-Robley. Horatio Gordon-Robley and his collection of severed heads, 1895. During the 19th century, Horatio Gordon-Robley was a renowned collector of the McBride and the obscure, specializing in collecting Makamakai, otherwise known as the preserved heads of New Zealand's Maori people. Number 5. Creepy little girl. A girl who grew up in a concentration camp draws a picture of home while living in a residence for disturbed children, circa 1948. Number 4. The Mad Bomber's Mad Smile. George Medesky, known as the Mad Bomber, peers through the bars of his cell at the Waterbury Con police station. From 1940, Medesky terrorized New York City by planting pipe bombs in public areas until his arrest 16 years later in January 1957. He was apprehended on an early use of offender profiling and clues given in letters he wrote to a newspaper. He was found legally insane and committed to state mental hospital. Number 3. Ella Harper. Ella Harper, also known as Camel Girl, was born with a very rare orthopedic condition that caused her knees to bend backwards, called congenital genu recurvatum. Her preference to walk on all fours resulted in her nickname, Camel Girl. In 1886, she was featured as the star in W. H. Harris's Nickel Plate Circus, appearing in newspaper whenever the circus visited. Harper received $200 per week salary. Number 2. The Creepy Doll. An apartment on East 137th Street in the Bronx, where Virginia Bender was found dead from apparent strangulation and a stab wound in June of 1939. The doll on the bed of Virginia Bender was apparently the only witness of the murder and probably could tell a creepy story. Number 1. The Sad Mystery of the Jawless Man. Of all of the weird and creepy vintage photos online, this one is among the saddest and most disturbing. Here we see a man, presumably still alive, who has somehow lost his entire lower jaw. It's anyone's guess whether this was through a war injury or a freak accident, but it appears this photo was taken in a medical facility. A wound like this would be substantial by today's standards. It's unlikely that this man received the treatment he needed.